Whispers sliced through the morning air as the sleek black SUV rolled to a stop outside Lincoln High. Doors slammed, laughter echoed, and then silence. A tall, quiet black girl stepped out, clutching her backpack like a shield. Her name was Amara. 16 years old, new town, new life, and already the world felt heavier than her bag. She could feel their eyes crawling over her. "Who's she?" someone whispered. Another voice laughed. "Probably just another transfer kid." Amara didn't answer. She kept her gaze low, her steps small, as if walking softer could make her disappear. Inside the hallways, the noise returned, but the stairs never stopped. Posters of smiling students lined the walls. Perfect hair, perfect skin, perfect lies. Megan, the golden-haired cheer captain, leaned against her locker, her friends buzzing around her like bees. When Amara walked past, Megan's smile thinned. "Cute outfit," Megan said sweetly, eyes scanning the plain beige sweater and faded jeans. Her friends giggled. Amara nodded politely, pretending not to hear. She'd seen that smile before. Sharp, sugar-coated, and dangerous. Between classes, the whispers grew louder. Someone snickered when she answered a teacher's question correctly. Another slipped a note onto her desk. "Go back where you came from." She crumpled it, without a word. Her father's voice echoed in her mind. "Never fight small minds, Amara. They don't know what real strength looks like." By lunchtime, she found refuge in silence. She sat alone under the bleachers, picking at a sandwich she couldn't taste. Then she noticed the janitor struggling with a stack of books near the stairwell. Without thinking, she rushed to help. "Thank you, dear," the old man said, smiling warmly. Before she could reply, Megan's laughter pierced the air. "Aw, look! Teacher's pet and janitor's helper. Trying to earn brownie points already?" The crowd chuckled. Amara froze, cheeks burning, but said nothing. She just kept stacking the books until the last one was in place. Then she straightened up, gave the janitor a nod, and walked away. That evening, the sky blushed orange as she walked home. Houses shrank behind her, replaced by the sound of gravel under her shoes. Then she felt it, the prickle on her neck. A dark-tinted car crept slowly behind her, engine humming low. Amara tightened her backpack strap, her pulse rising. The car didn't pass. It just followed, steady, silent, watching. Her father's voice echoed again, low and protective. "Stay calm, Amara. Always stay calm." But this time, even calm felt dangerous. "You think you're better than us?" Megan's voice sliced through the chatter of the hallway. She stepped closer, trapping Amara against the row of lockers, her perfume thick in the air, her smile sharp as glass. Around them, phones lifted, recording, waiting for a reaction. Amara stood still, her books clutched tight against her chest. She said nothing. Silence was her armor, but today it felt heavy. Megan's friends circled like vultures. "Look at her," one sneered. "Acting all innocent. Probably just here for pity." The crowd murmured, hungry for drama. Then Megan leaned in close and whispered, "You'll regret ignoring me." By the next morning, the rumors had spread like wildfire. Whispers slithered through the hallways, lies about Amara's family, her past, and even how she got into the school. Someone posted a fake photo online. Amara standing outside a soup kitchen, captioned, "The charity case strikes again." Hundreds of likes, laughing emojis, and cruel comments. When Amara passed, the laughter stopped, but the stares didn't. Every step she took felt like walking through shards of glass. In English class, Mrs. Raymond noticed, her brows knit together as Megan's group snickered in the back row. But she said nothing. She'd seen the school's donor plaques. Megan's father's name was on every one of them. After class, Mrs. Raymond called softly, "Amara? Are you all right?" Amara managed a small smile. "I'm fine, ma'am." She wasn't. That night, the glow of her phone lit her dark room. Her thumb hovered over a contact, Dad. She typed, "It's getting worse here," then paused. A tear fell onto the screen. She erased the words and whispered, "You told me not to call unless it's serious." Her father's voice echoed in her mind, calm and strong. "You don't need to roar to be strong, Amara. Strength isn't loud." She closed her eyes, breathing slowly until the anger burned into quiet resolve. Tomorrow, she promised herself, she would face them again. No tears, no fear. But morning came with fresh cruelty. Her locker, painted black, across it, scrawled in red paint, were words she couldn't unsee. Students gathered, whispering, phones flashing. Amara stepped forward, staring at the slurs. No emotion, no words, only stillness. Then the camera caught her eyes, calm on the surface. But behind them, a fire had just been lit. Lunchtime at Lincoln High was a storm of noise, chatter, laughter, and clattering trays. And then, crash. Food exploded across the cafeteria floor, splattering Amara's shirt in bright orange sauce. For a heartbeat, silence swallowed the room. Then came the laughter. Megan stood over her, empty tray in hand, eyes wide in mock surprise. "Oh my gosh," she gasped, hand to her chest. "I'm so sorry." "Total accident." Her friends erupted into giggles. Someone yelled, "Guess she wanted extra sauce." The room roared, Amara froze, every muscle locked. The smell of tomato and humiliation filled her senses. She wanted to vanish, to dissolve into the floor. But she didn't move. She just looked at Megan, expression calm, voice quiet. "You dropped your manners too." For a split second the laughter faltered. But then Megan's smirk returned, wider. "Careful," she whispered, leaning close. "You might make me look bad." At the edge of the crowd, a timid boy named Eli held up his phone, recording. He'd seen this before. The crowd feeding off cruelty, the victim swallowing pain. His hands shook as he filmed, but he didn't stop. Amara picked up her tray, turned, and walked out. Not a single tear, not a single word, only silence, the kind that makes everyone uncomfortable. That night, the quiet of her garage replaced the noise of the cafeteria. Fluorescent light flickered overhead. A punching bag swung in the center, scuffed from years of use. Amara tied on worn boxing gloves, her breath steady, her expression unreadable. The first punch landed clean. Then another, and another. The rhythm built, precision, control, no anger. Only focus, a voice echoed in her memory, deep, calm, and familiar. "It's not about hitting harder, Amara. It's about knowing when not to." Her father's lessons played like film reels in her mind. Late nights on training mats, laughter after bruises, his rough hands steadying hers. Restraint makes you powerful. Pride makes you reckless. Sweat dripped down her face as she hit the bag one last time. The chain rattled, echoing through the garage like thunder. She unwrapped her gloves slowly, her reflection staring back from a dusty mirror. Quiet, steady, and unbreakable. The girl at school was invisible. The girl here was something else entirely. Miles away, in a glowing group chat, Megan's message popped up. "Tomorrow after school, let's teach the new girl her place. For real this time." The laughing emojis that followed said everything. Amara didn't know it yet. But tomorrow, the game was about to turn deadly serious. The sun bled red behind the bleachers as Amara stepped out of the empty school building. The air was cool and quiet, too quiet. Then came the sound of footsteps. Laughter. Voices she recognized. Megan and her friends emerged from the shadows near the football field, faces lit by the dying light. "Going somewhere? Charity case?" Megan called. Amara tightened her grip on her backpack and kept walking. Leave me alone. Oh, we just want to talk, another girl mocked, blocking her path. Someone snatched her bag. Another shoved her shoulder. The laughter grew louder, uglier. Megan circled around her like a predator. You think you're too good for us? You think just because people feel sorry for you, you can walk around like a queen? They tore her backpack open. Books, notebooks, and photos spilled across the grass. One girl stomped on a family picture. Oops! Amara's hands curled into fists, but she didn't swing. Her voice stayed steady. You should stop, Megan sneered. Or what? She pushed Amara again. You'll cry? You'll tell your daddy? Amara's jaw tightened. No, I'll forgive you. The girls laughed, until Megan's hand cracked across Amara's face. The sound echoed against the metal bleachers, sharp and cold. Amara staggered back, eyes glistening. Not with tears, but with something darker, deeper. You don't know who I am, she whispered. Phones lifted. The girls recorded, mocking her voice, zooming in on her calm expression. Say it louder, Megan taunted. Amara said nothing. She just picked up her torn photograph, brushed off the dirt, and walked away. Slow, silent, unbroken. Behind her, the laughter turned to shouting. The video hit social media within minutes, captioned, Weak girl gets owned. By midnight, it had spread everywhere. Millions of views, endless comments. Some laughed. Others paused, uneasy. She didn't even fight back. There's something about her eyes. She's not scared. The next morning, Megan woke up to hundreds of notifications. The video had exploded far beyond the school. Celebrities, influencers, and news pages. But one comment froze her blood. A verified account. Bold blue checkmark. 3 words. Delete this video. Now. The username, Vin Diesel. Megan woke to the sound of her phone vibrating non-stop. Blurry-eyed, she reached for it. Hundreds of notifications flooded her screen. Then her stomach dropped. The viral video was gone. Her account? Suspended! What the? She whispered, refreshing the app over and over. Her father burst through the door, tie half-knotted, face red with fury. Do you have any idea what you've done? Megan blinked. It was just a stupid prank. He slammed his phone down on her desk. Someone powerful called the district this morning. They want this covered up immediately. Whoever that girl is, she's not just some random student. Megan stared, suddenly pale. Who's protecting her? By the time she reached Lincoln High, the rumors had already taken over. Her family's connected. The video's wiped from every platform. Even the news sites took it down. But Amara wasn't in class that day. After school, Eli noticed the familiar black SUV from Amara's first day parked near the highway. Something about it tugged at him. Curiosity, maybe guilt. He followed quietly on his bike as the car drove toward the regional airport. At the private terminal, Amara stepped out, her hood up, clutching a worn duffel bag. A tall man in sunglasses was waiting for her. The moment she saw him, her shoulders dropped in relief. He opened his arms. You promised to stay out of trouble, he said, voice calm but firm. I didn't start it, she replied, her voice trembling, part apology, part defense. Vin Diesel sighed, resting a hand on her shoulder. You don't have to prove anything to them. You've already survived worse. For a moment, the tension melted. She looked up at him with quiet affection. Not like a fan, but like a daughter. Eli watched from a distance, stunned. Daughter? The truth hit him like a wave. Years ago, a young girl had lost her parents in a racially motivated attack that made national news. Vin Diesel had stepped in quietly, adopting her, keeping her out of the spotlight to protect her from the world's cruelty. And now, because of one viral video, the secret was unraveling. As their SUV drove away, Eli's phone buzzed. Breaking news. A leaked photo of Amara hugging Vin Diesel. Caption: The girl from the bullying video is his daughter. By morning, Lincoln High was no longer a school. It was a circus. News vans lined the street, camera flashes bursting like fireworks as reporters shouted questions. Is it true Vin Diesel's daughter was bullied here? Where's the principal? Megan pushed through the crowd, sunglasses on, heart pounding. She could feel every lens pointed at her. Her father's car screeched to a stop by the curb. He stepped out, jaw clenched. Get in, he ordered. Inside, the air was heavy. You're going to apologize. Today. On camera. Megan's voice cracked, frustration bubbling up. I didn't know. How was I supposed to know who she was? Her father turned, eyes cold. You didn't need to know. You just needed to be decent. Silence. For the first time, Megan had no comeback. Across town, Amara sat in the back of a modest sedan, watching the chaos unfold on her phone. Her name, her face, her pain, everywhere. Vin Diesel's statement was short, almost whisper-like in tone, but thunderous in impact. No child deserves to be humiliated. Ever. The internet erupted in sympathy and outrage. Hashtags demanding justice trended worldwide. Celebrities offered support. Strangers wrote letters, but Amara didn't smile. She only stared out the window, whispering to herself, Dad, this isn't what I wanted. The next day, she walked through the school gates again. Alone. No security, no interviews, just a quiet girl in a plain gray hoodie, eyes steady, head high. Students parted as she passed. Whispers filled the air, but no laughter followed this time. Even teachers looked away in shame. Megan watched from afar, trembling. Every ounce of fame she'd once had now turned against her. But the guilt twisted into something darker. Resentment. That night, when the campus emptied and the moonlight spilled across the parking lot, Megan's car door slammed shut. Her face was streaked with tears and fury. She ruined my life, she whispered to herself. Gripping a can of spray paint, she stepped toward Amara's car, hand shaking but determined. In the distance, a security camera blinked red, recording every move. The faint sound of footsteps echoed behind her. Megan froze. Someone was already there. The air inside the principal's office was thick with tension. Cameras outside had finally left, but inside, silence ruled, until the door opened. Vin Diesel stepped in, wearing black and calm as stone. His voice was low and controlled, but his eyes carried a weight that made the principal's hands tremble. Mr. Garrison, Vin began, sitting opposite the desk. You run a school that teaches respect, don't you? The principal swallowed hard. Yes, of course. What happened to Amara was avoidable, Vin interrupted softly. You saw the signs. You ignored them. And a child suffered because silence was easier. The principal's face turned pale. We're taking action, Mr. Diesel. We've scheduled assemblies, anti-bullying programs. Vin leaned forward, gaze sharp as glass. You don't fix a wound by covering it with a speech. You fix it by changing the people who caused it. Across the hall, Megan's day was crumbling again. Out of spite and desperation, she had broken into the school late the previous night. The footage was clear, her spray painting Amara's locker again, smirking as if defiance could undo humiliation. Now she sat in the counselor's office, security waiting at the door. Her father stormed in, suit wrinkled, eyes bloodshot. This is insane. She's just a kid. Moments later, the door opened again, and Vin stood there. The two fathers faced each other. You think you can fix everything with money, Vin said quietly. But you can't buy character. You can't buy empathy. Those things are earned, usually through pain. Megan's father clenched his fists, but had no words. The truth hung heavy between them. Vin turned to the trembling girl. I don't hate you, Megan, he said. But I hope you understand now. Cruelty always costs more than kindness. He left without raising his voice. Still, The silence that followed felt louder than any threat. Later that evening, an envelope slid under Megan's front door. Her father picked it up, confusion in his eyes. Inside, a formal notice. Disciplinary hearing, suspension pending. Charge, physical assault and defacement of school property. Megan stared at the letter, tears spilling over. For the first time, she realized this wasn't just a scandal. It was justice, finally knocking. The world waited for her anger. The headlines screamed her name, her face on every feed. Vin Diesel's daughter speaks out. But when the cameras came to her doorstep, Amara simply smiled and closed the door. Inside her small bedroom, light filtered softly through half-drawn curtains. She sat before her phone, hit record, and breathed deeply. No makeup, no team, just truth. Her voice was calm, almost fragile. "I've seen people at their worst," she began. "But I've also learned something my dad always told me. Strength isn't about hitting back. It's about standing tall when no one stands with you." She paused, eyes glistening. "I forgave them before the world found out who I was." That single line echoed through millions of screens within hours. The clip spread faster than any scandal. News anchors replayed it with awe, and comments flooded with tears and admiration. "This girl's heart is stronger than Hollywood," one wrote. Celebrities reposted it. Teachers used it in classrooms. Parents shared it with their kids. Meanwhile, Megan sat alone in her dimly lit bedroom, phone buzzing relentlessly. Every message was the same. Disappointment, disgust, loss of followers, whispers of expulsion. She stared at Amara's video, jaw trembling. Amara's quiet grace felt like a mirror held to her own cruelty. For the first time, she didn't feel powerful. She felt small, crushed beneath the weight of her own choices. Downstairs, her father watched, too. He said nothing, only sighed, realizing that the empire of influence he built could never buy back his daughter's respect. Across town, Amara turned off her phone and sat in silence. The world called her a hero, but she didn't feel like one. She felt free, free from anger, free from proving anything. She stepped outside, the night air cool against her skin. She looked up at the stars, the same ones she used to count when she was scared as a child. Her phone buzzed. One message, from a contact saved as Dad. "I saw your video. You didn't let them change you. I'm proud of you, kiddo. You did it your way." A tear rolled down her cheek. Not of pain, but peace. The silence she once feared had finally become her victory. The auditorium was packed, yet silent enough to hear a breath. Rows of students filled every seat, their eyes fixed on the stage. The principal stood nervously by the mic, his voice echoing through the speakers. "Today, we have someone who reminded the world what real strength looks like." Amara walked onto the stage. No glitter, no spotlight, just a quiet presence that carried more power than any fame could. She looked out at the crowd, faces that once laughed, whispered, and judged. Now they waited, humbled. Her voice trembled at first, but soon grew steady. "Courage isn't loud," she said softly. "Sometimes it's just choosing kindness when cruelty is easier. You never know what someone's fighting inside." Students leaned forward, spellbound. She spoke of silent battles, of those who smile while breaking, of how one cruel word can last a lifetime. "No one wins when we tear others down," she continued. "But everyone heals when someone decides to stop the hate." A murmur spread through the hall. Some students wiped their eyes. Even the teachers stood, hands clasped, pride and regret mixing in their faces. At the back, near the doorway, Megan stood frozen. Her mascara had long faded, her pride shattered. Every word cut through her like a truth she'd run from for too long. She took a trembling step forward. Then another. "Amara." Her voice broke barely above a whisper. "I'm sorry." The hall fell dead silent. Every eye turned toward the two girls, once enemies, now facing each other under the same harsh light. Amara's expression softened. She stepped closer, then did the unthinkable. She opened her arms. Megan collapsed into her, sobbing. The room erupted in gasps and tears. A few students stood, clapping slowly. Then the whole hall joined, applause swelling like a wave of redemption. Forgiveness had found its stage. From the back row, a man in a plain hoodie and baseball cap rose quietly. No cameras, no entourage, just a father, eyes shining with pride. Vin Diesel smiled faintly, hands in his pockets. He turned toward the exit, whispering to himself, "That's my girl!" And for the first time, Amara's story truly belonged to her. The sun glowed warm over Lincoln High as caps and gowns filled the courtyard. Months had passed, yet the memory of chaos had turned into calm. Lessons carved into every heart that once looked away. Amara stood behind the podium, valedictorian sash glinting in the morning light. Her speech papers trembled slightly in her hands, though her eyes were steady. She smiled, took a breath, and began. "Some lessons," she said, "don't come from textbooks. They come from scars and what you choose to do with them." The crowd leaned in. Parents, students, and teachers, even those who once whispered her name with malice, now watched with respect. "I learned that silence can hurt," she continued, "but it can also heal if you fill it with understanding. True power isn't in fame or revenge. It's in forgiveness, empathy, and standing tall when the world tries to break you." Her voice caught for a moment, but she smiled through it. "If my story has taught anyone anything, let it be this: kindness can rewrite any ending." Applause thundered across the field. Tears glistened in eyes that had once turned away. In the front row, Megan sat among the volunteers, her hands still stained faintly with paint from community service. She'd spent months helping rebuild homes, cleaning parks, and tutoring kids who had once feared people like her. The guilt hadn't vanished, but it had transformed into purpose. As the applause quieted, she looked up at Amara and mouthed, "Thank you." Amara nodded softly. No bitterness, no pride, only peace. Behind the rows, a man in dark shades stood near the trees, hands tucked into his jacket pockets. Vin Diesel didn't wave, didn't move. But his smile said everything. Pride, love, relief. When the ceremony ended, Amara walked toward the parking lot, the same spot where she had once arrived, trembling, strangers' eyes burning holes into her back. Now, as she climbed into the sleek black SUV, laughter echoed around her. No whispers, no fear, just freedom. The car pulled away slowly, sunlight reflecting off the windows like a promise kept. Her voice lingered in memory, calm, certain, eternal. Power isn't in revenge, it's in mercy. And for everyone watching her drive away, that lesson stayed. A story reborn in grace.